The impact of COVID-19 has caused many changes in people's lives all around the world. This devastating virus has dramatically changed the lives of many students and given us a new normal, as virtual learning is taking over for means of education during this global pandemic. Online education has been very different for students around the world as the various methods of virtual learning differ from the traditional face-to-face education. When looking at this change to online education, many students are experiencing the advantages that virtual technology has on their learning outcomes. The Research Institute of America found that e-learning increases retention rates to 25% to 60%, while retention rates of face-to-face training were very low in comparison, and they were 8% to 10%. There are many aspects of online learning that make the material retention easier than face-to-face. As students have more control over their learning process, they are absorbing information more efficiently through the variety of tools, modules, recorded lectures, and other virtual assignments that they have. Having this control over their learning is extremely beneficial for students to retain the information because they are able to better learn the information at their own pace, regardless of the pace of their classmates. As well as going at their own pace, students are able to revisit the information as needed, so they better understand the material and can make sure that they retain the information they need for their assignments and examinations. Online learning has given many opportunities for students to control their education and best apply themselves to their own individual learning processes, which has greatly increased students' retention rates and bettered their learning experiences. Although online education has shown many benefits to students' learning experiences in terms of retention rates and learning pace control, it has also emphasized the inequality struggles of families all across the world. Inequality has always been prevalent in our world, but the switch to online learning during the COVID-19 crisis is causing many issues with families who do not have access to the resources necessary for online learning to be successful. UNESCO and the UN Education and Culture Agency found that half of the students currently out of the classroom, which is nearly 830 million learners globally, don't have access to a computer. Also, more than 40% of global learners don't have internet access at home. This means that almost half of the students worldwide cannot be successful in online learning. The fact that some students don't have access to a computer means that some of them are trying to do their online learning with smartphones, which is incredibly difficult. A school district lending technology to families who don't have them is one thing, but not all school districts can afford to do this for their students as it's very costly. Especially with the amount of global inequality that is present in our world, it is nearly impossible to get all students access to technology for their online education. The unequal access to this technology and broadband internet is taking devastating tolls on students who are unable to learn in a virtual setting. Because of this inequality, many students are unable to even participate in an online learning setting, which strips them of their right to education during this tough time. This sets almost half of the students in our world at a disadvantage, where they first didn't have access to a computer or broadband at home, but now they don't have access to education. This inequality is always present, but the switch to online education is highlighting this inequality and stripping students of their education.